Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Oscar Buzz. Trevor here, joined by Thomas as always. And today we're talking about The Creator, the latest film from Gareth Edwards. The Rogue One and the Godzilla thing and all those things. That's starring John David Washington. Also got Jim Chan. I mean, this should be better than it is. You got cinematography by Craig Fraser, got a score by Hans Zimmer. Both of them not at the top of their game.
No.
It's just a very, very uninspiring film.
Yeah, I mean, I think Gareth Edwards has a weird talent for just slightly elevating what otherwise would be complete corporate drivel, like just slightly bringing it to a slightly higher standard. But it's still, this is nothing special. I mean, people have been banging on about the visuals, and yes, like completely agree. The visuals, the visual effects at least,
Yeah.
are quite good for what they are, but they don't sell a movie. Like we didn't,
Right, and they're
between
also
us, like
nothing that we
Avatar.
haven't seen before. They're nothing revolutionary.
Exactly, they're nothing that we haven't seen before. They're nothing revolutionary, and like we didn't like Avatar. I don't know. Visual effects for me can't sell a film in the same way action can't sell a film for me. I need
Right.
something more than that. I mean, you mentioned John David Washington is in the film. I mean, he's in the film. I don't know if he was giving anything to the film, though.
Yeah.
He's not a very good actor, to put it simply. Like he was very, very good in Black Klansman, but since then
Yeah.
he has done nothing, like zero.
And to
That
be
has
fair, that
actually
might
hit
just be
me.
the projects. Like,
It could just be the projects. He has been fairly shafted in terms of projects, yeah.
Tenet,
But
Malcolm and Marie,
yeah,
this, like,
yeah. But equally, he seems to be doing the same thing in every film I see him in,
yeah.
and that thing is not very interesting, especially since he is completely outshined by the child actor, like
Yeah.
completely outshined. Who is probably, as people have mentioned, the shining part of the film. I would agree with
Yeah.
that. She is the only thing that really brings this film anything different than what we've seen before. Because yeah, it's just a lot of the same thing. And people have been saying this is such an original film. Like, yeah, is it that original though? I
It's
don't think it's that original. I feel
so
like you
okay.
can
Like,
completely
yeah.
read all of its influences and just it's an amalgamation of everything we've seen before in terms of the
Yeah.
sci-fi genre.
I mean, the whole thing, it's like, oh, it's initially like about like, oh, AI bad, and then like it then has like a pro AI message, and like we were talking about, like as you said, like it could be read as a metaphor of like imperialism will inherently demonize everything it goes against, which like true, yes, good. Um, it I think you're giving the film a lot of credit to read into that metaphor, because I really don't think that the film works to accomplish that in any meaningful way.
No, I think the only reason the metaphor exists there is because a lot of the visual imagery is reminiscent of like Vietnam War, stuff like
Vietnam and
that.
yeah.
So there is visual imagery, but I don't think any of it is inherent to the story that it is trying to tell. And like, yeah, you said like this is an anti-imperialist film, which is great, but equally the
Yeah,
thing that it is favoring instead
is
AI is
AI.
questionable. And why was this film released at this time? I don't know. It's questionable politics behind this film potentially.
Yeah. Yeah, it just everything just feels muddled and honestly without a purpose. And like the film almost feels like it was written by AI. As you said, it feels so incredibly derivative and uninteresting. Like, yes, the visuals are fun, but I guarantee, like, I've seen those shots before. Like,
Yeah.
and not to say that that can't be done. Like, paying homage, great, but like, it just it didn't. Like, you pay homage by, like, taking something from before and then, like, elevating it and doing it in an interesting
Yeah.
way,
Like, I
and
mean,
this
look at
film just
Nope,
felt
like, which
regressive.
took
Yeah,
imagery
Nope,
from a
fantastic
Spielberg
example.
film. They took,
Yeah,
yeah, but it changed it and it flipped it and it subverted it to
yeah.
create something that was inherent to the story. Whereas this, I feel,
This is
just
just
takes it and
boring.
puts it on. Yeah.
Yeah, it just it felt so boring. It's just it's giving absolutely nothing, and, like, yeah, I don't know, like, the film almost felt like a video game at points where, like, you would just, oh, you go into this environment, and then, you do this little bit of the mission, and then stay within this environment that's, like, very clearly defined, and then, "Oh, this section ended, so now we're gonna move on to the next section with these pointless, completely unnecessary title cards." And it's just
Yeah.
like, "Oh, now we're on to the next section, new environment, new place. We gotta complete the little mini mission here, and then, oh, on to the next one." It's just like, why am I
Yeah.
watching this?"
I think the film was also incredibly overly long. Like
Yeah,
it
oh my
sets up a mystery as oh
yeah,
what is this weapon? But like if you've seen the trailer, if you know anything about the film, you know that it's a child. So it sets up this mystery
yeah,
that just the outcome and you just spend a lot of the time ahead of where the film is, where you
and
as
it
you as an
never
audience should
subverts.
be
It never
one step behind.
subverts,
It never
right?
it never does anything to challenge you or to like
Yeah.
make you question what you've seen before. It is just you are watching this in like you've seen it all before, which is I guess the main problem that I have with the film. It's just dull, and it creates this dull atmosphere that's overly long. That yeah,
Yeah.
it's a shame. It is a shame.
No, because I was kind of excited about this, and it's just it's so like I don't know, like it can't decide whether it wants to be like a sci-fi movie or whether it wants to be an action movie. I don't think it really has an identity. Some of the music choices are really weird. Like Hans Zimmer's score is incredibly underwhelming. But like I guess like that conflict between like it doesn't know what it entirely wants to be, and thus I don't really know what I'm supposed to take from it. And then I just
Yeah,
think like it doesn't even deliver on any of those genre promises. It doesn't deliver on being like, oh, like doing an interesting sci-fi thing that's kind of thought-provoking and fun. And it doesn't promise on being like, oh, we're gonna do like really interesting and cool and fun action. Like it just does
yeah.
nothing.
Yeah, and all of the sort of emotional elements feel very forced as well. Like,
Real
oh yeah,
emotional elements.
we've got to give John David Washington something, some
Yeah,
motivation. Let's just have this aspect, which yeah, I mean, it's not. His character is so incredibly underdeveloped for a character
yeah,
that is occupying basically 2.5, 2 hours 20 of screen time essentially.
yeah,
Like, he is incredibly underdeveloped. You learn very little about this character, and that's the same for every other character in this film. There is very limited
yeah.
characterization. They are just cardboard cutouts put into a plot,
Oh yeah,
which
and it just feels like a like I don't know. It felt like they just came up with like a really like simple, very obvious 3-act structure story, and
yeah,
then they just shoved in the characters afterwards rather
yeah,
than starting, like developing the characters and basing the conflict around these characters. Like the characters felt like an afterthought, honestly. Like
yeah. And I think that's like there is a reason people. The only reason people seem to be talking about this is because of its VFX. Like there is a
yeah,
reason for that because there's nothing actually very interesting to
there's
talk about
nothing else about
within
the
the
film
film
of note.
itself.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like yes, sure, they're cool and all, but I need something more to get me into this world, to get me invested in
Yeah.
the story, which
And
I
are they
just
even, like,
didn't find.
that cool? Like, I don't like, they're fine.
No, I mean they're good. They are good. They're good
And considering the
VFX.
budget, like, I get it, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
exactly. Yeah, if we give a rating, I'd be looking at a 4,
I'm
honestly,
also feeling a
maybe.
4. I'm also feeling a
Yeah,
4.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not good. It's not
It's
good.
really not good. Um, yeah, okay, let's talk about awards. It's only a contender in VFX.
Yeah, I
Only.
mean, oh, 100%, 100%. And like I was going to say, I wouldn't be mad if this won VFX. I don't think it is unworthy. Whether it will is a different question. I think it could, since June has left a incredibly large vacuum in the
Yeah.
category. It could fill that spot. I think it'd be worthy, but there are bigger name films that will be contenders in other categories that also could, like Oppenheimer, notably. I think
Right.
it won.
It's in, like, the modern era of VFX, like, since the expansion of the lineup and everything, like, only once, I believe, as a film, won VFX, with that being its sole nomination, and that was The Jungle Book in 2016. That was also a really weird year. There was Rogue One that year, another Gareth
Yeah.
Edwards film. There was, like, all of these other things, and it wasn't that strong of a year. And I like that was a massive box office hit. That was also a Disney movie of, like, a beloved thing. Like, this, I don't think is gonna do that well at the box office. I
No,
don't
unfortunately, and it is unfortunate that it won't. But equally, like,
Yeah,
I mean, I feel that this year's box office has been very reflective of the quality of films. Like Barbie, Oppenheimer,
yeah,
Spider Verse have all been some of the best films of the year. So
yeah,
yeah, I don't think it's gonna ruin the film industry that this film, which is potentially one of the more original films, quote unquote, that we've seen
quote,
in the
unquote, yeah.
past few years, will potentially not do as well at the box office because yeah, I just don't see a market for it. I don't know where the appeal is coming from, where the USP is in this one.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. And, like, so as far as awards, like, is it gonna win off of its sole nomination? I don't know. If you look at its other competition, it's like Guardians, which is there, but that I mean, that would
Yeah,
have makeup, but I don't
it
know.
would, but
I
equally that would
mean
be a bit weird to just go for this Marvel film
and
with
they also haven't
VFX.
ever gone for an MCU film to win before.
Yeah,
Like, they
yeah,
hate even nominating MCU films in this category. So then there's Oppenheimer, which, like, isn't that much CGI. There's lots of visual effects, but it's a lot of, like, compositing and things like that. Whereas this is way more CGI heavy, which they prefer the CGI. But if Oppenheimer is winning Best Picture and is getting all these other things like production design and cinematography, which are very
yeah.
helpful in VFX, I don't know. Like, I'd be leaning towards Oppenheimer, but I also think Oppenheimer is the most likely to be snubbed out of our current predictions. So,
Agreed. Agreed. I think this is safely assured for a nomination.
yeah,
And as we say, it could win. I wouldn't be mad, but I'm not predicting it currently. I think it'd be a weird winner.
it would be a very strange winner. Like, if you just look over
Yeah,
the past couple of years and then you just see this.
yeah, for like this sort of mid-budget thing in the end of September that
Yeah,
didn't
it
receive great
that
reviews,
didn't hit
but
festivals at all.
yeah, it
That
would
wasn't
just be
even
it would not fit the trend at
from
all.
a
And of course,
non-prestige
things can
director.
break a trend, but equally
Yeah,
trends do exist for a reason. So yeah,
yeah. I don't know who's gonna be excited to vote for this.
exactly,
Who's gonna even,
exactly.
like, care about this? Like,
Yeah,
I don't know. I really don't see where that would be coming from, which is why even though it would break the CGI trend, why I'm kinda leaning more towards Oppenheimer. The problem is will the VFX, um, like, branch of the Academy actually vote for it to get the
yeah.
nomination? I don't
I don't
know.
know. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. So, it'll be quite interesting. But, yeah, very, very interesting as far as awards. Very, very interesting category since Dune has abandoned us. And those are our thoughts on The Creator. A bit of a rough movie week.
It was.
Not
It
gonna lie.
was.
It
We've got
was not good.
festivals coming up. We've got a slew of stuff
Oh,
to
yeah,
look
yeah,
forward
yeah.
to.
No, Tom is gonna be at London Film Festival. I'm gonna be at Chicago Film Festival. We're both going to be covering lots of things there. Should be lots of fun. But until then, thank you everybody for watching. You can follow us on social media in addition to supporting the strikes in the links in the description. And until next time, thank you everybody for watching. Stay safe and goodbye.